Well, hello and welcome. I am so excited to be here because I am here with Dave Hewlett of Smart Labels, and we're really going to talk about just smart labels and how they can really help us be more organized. So, Dave, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So, one of the things I always like to start with your story as to why you decided to start Smart Labels.
Yeah, well, I would love to say that I was the one who came up with the idea, but I actually purchased this company from an engineer in 2022, and I've been growing it since then. But the reason that I wanted this company specifically was there is so much value in having your stuff organized, knowing where it is, and not having to be like, wait, where did I put that thing? I mean, the number of times that that I've gone into the garage and looked at the boxes and they say, office odds and ends, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking when I wrote that down? Like, I don't know what office odds and ends are. Like, how am I going to find this, right? And then I look at the next box is office odds and ends also, and it's like, oh gosh, this is going to be a task. So I know personally that how much I would benefit from it, and then there's people that I know, of course, that are much more organized than myself, and have been doing it with different types of labels, and this just offers so much more than you can put on a label. There's so much more information. There's an image. There's names. There's descriptions. It's all this stuff is searchable. So it's really a helpful tool, and that's why I purchased the company and why I'm so excited about it and why I continue to build the product and come down to my office with a smile on my face every day.
So, like, really, what is smart labels, but how does it work? I mean, I love, of course, I've got my smart labels here, but, for those who are watching who are just like, what are smart labels? Can you explain what
Yeah.
they are and also how they work?
Absolutely. So I've got my smart labels here too. You and I are both looking at the modern pack. We have a bunch of different
Yeah, I
colors.
love the colors.
These ones, I felt these were like kind of a springtime
Hmm.
color, so I
Hmm.
thought this would be good for today. Essentially, what you do, it's really easy. So you buy these labels on Amazon or our website, which is qrsmartlabels.com. You can get them on walmart.com as well. And when they arrive, you get out your labels, your QR code labels. Each one of them is a sticker, right? And so you can just peel it off, put it on, a plastic storage tote, or a moving box, or a shelf, or something bigger than that, where you just want to
Hmm.
label that
Hmm.
thing. And then you get out the app, and you can. This is what the app sort of looks like. It's going to be a little hard to
Okay,
see, but
okay.
okay. And with that, you can just tap Scan Smart Label, and then it goes in and it lets you. It says, "Okay, go scan it. I'm going to scan one of these." And then we start to go and we get to create the label, right? So you can give it a name, a description. You take a picture of the maybe everything that's going into the bin, or you take a picture of just the bin that it's going to be in, so that when you go back to look down the road, you're like, oh, that's the bin I'm looking for,
Hmm.
right? It looks like this
Hmm.
and it has that. And or if you're then you go through and you take the picture, you get all that stuff, and then underneath that, if you want to get real detailed, you can start adding items beneath a label, right? So that way you could actually add every piece that's going in with a picture, name, description. So you have a true catalog of everything that's in there. And that's really helpful, especially if you're looking for specific things and you say you're searching for let's see. My wife puts this Christmas tree on in the center of our table. It's like a glass one that her mom handed down, and there's a Lennox Christmas tree. And so I can just type in Lennox, and it brings up the Christmas tree. Right, it shows me the picture of it, so I know exactly which one it is. It tells me the. It says, okay, here's the. Here it's going to be a blue label. It's going to have this four-character code on it. You put it. It tells you where you put it, right? So you say, it was put in the garage. It's on the shelf on the fourth level, and so I know exactly where to look to find it. I know exactly which one to get down. And instead of bringing up, I think we've gotten to about 15 Christmas bins now. We love to decorate, but I know I can just bring one instead of all 15
Mm-hmm.
to try to find that Linux Christmas tree. So it's that's just an example of one of the ways that we use it. But it kind of gives an idea, right? Because you can search in the app for all the text in there that you put in is searchable. Or the Christmas stuff is on a high shelf,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if I want to just see what's in one of those and I can't see, even if it's a clear bin and it's on the top, right? You may not be able to see. I can just scan the label and it shows me everything that's in that box. So it's a great way to save yourself, lifting things up and down or falling off a ladder, trying to lift things up and down. Uh, you know.
That's true.
Anyway, but that's one of the many uses that we have.
Hmm. And what are some of the ways that some of the people who purchase your labels, what are some of the ways they use it either in their personal life or as in their business? Because I think this is great. I mean, look at these. These are QR code labels and it's got the number, as Dave said. So you can use this like for inventory, but what are some of the ways that some of, the people who purchase your labels use?
Yeah. So I mean, I think garages are a huge one, and people do it for all sorts of seasonal equipment, whether it is decorations. I like to go camping with my son, and so like I've got all the camping stuff there. I forget where the different things are. Where's the camping frying pan that I have that's light and so I can find it with that. Um, a lot of people are using them storage units, self storage units. Save yourself a trip when you think it's in the self storage unit. You can just search and find it if it's there. Yeah, and then on the business front, it's kind of being used in two different ways. One is for inventory management, like you said. Works well for small businesses and micro businesses, right? Who are maybe using Excel to do their inventory management or something like that, right? This gives you a tool where you can have it in your hand, just scan the QR codes really easily. You can update the inventory with a plus or minus symbol as you add or take things out. And so that's sort of the basic inventory management. But it doesn't hook up to like a point of sale system right
Okay.
now. So it may not be the best tool for a medium sized business where they have multiple warehouses and they're trying to track things across the system. But another way that the businesses are using it is for office managers, right? So they're like, how many chairs do we have? Where how many pens do we have? Staplers. How much paper? How many stacks of paper do we have left? And then as people use them, they can subtract, and then they say, okay, well, we need to go and get some more of those for the office. And it's a great way to keep track of things instead of having to sort of go around and remember to take a physical inventory of what you need to go buy. So that's another way it's being used, and I can't remember if I said this last time I was on here, but we even have a this is probably the weirdest use case, but we have a snake breeder who yeah, a snake breeder who uses our expiration date feature to track when they need to feed their snakes, right? Because these snakes eat like once a week or every other week or every 3 days. And the app will actually, they say, okay, we fed it. We're going to set the expiration date for 2 weeks. We'll get a few reminders as it gets closer, and then we'll know the day to feed the snake. And that is the way that they use it. So there's all these like crazy ways that people are using this app for something that not that it wasn't intended for at all, but it wasn't designed for that at the beginning.
But that's a creative way. And as you were talking, I was thinking about because I work with a lot of people who are now in that caregiving space. And this would be
Yeah, yeah.
great for them because, maybe they are living, in another city or state than their parents. And at least if they use these labels and the parents like, well, I was trying to figure out where something was. And then because, usually the younger generation is a little bit more tech savvy, they can say, oh, yeah, I'll be over. It's in this box or either, it's underneath this. And then also, um, even with businesses and small businesses, I know sometimes when I'm working with clients and they have, certain information that they want to keep for so long, this will be great because at least they'll know, okay, the things from maybe 10 years ago, the archive files, is in the basement on the second shelf, like you were saying. So this is really good just for like so many different reasons, and even just like you said, in the home. When you really, I mean, okay, I know you said your wife's got 15. I think Davis, it's only me over here. I think I've got at least 6 bins of Christmas stuff. So, and I'm in a,
Yeah, and I was just thinking about what you're saying. The expiration date feature would be a great piece, right? If you know that you need to keep documents for 2 years, right? You take those labels, you just tag the expiration date. It'll start reminding you, hey, this one's expiring, and then when it's expired, you can go and you can take it out, and then you got more space, for other stuff. And you don't have to remember. You don't have to go in there and be like, what date was this, and all that stuff.
yeah, that's a good, and thank you for that, Dave, because I have a
And
client who I'm like, okay, we got to keep at least 7 years. So let's see. So that's really good. That's good. I'm gonna have to
yeah,
suggest this to her.
and then I was just going to make a point that the way that I designed the user experience for this app, I like to say I designed it so my grandmother, who's no longer with us, could use the app herself. Right, so it is very easy to use. It's very intuitive, and I have a lot of grandmothers who are on this app and using it, and maybe they have a quick question, and that's where I know that they are using it. But we do have an incredibly wide age range because the app is so easy to use. So, it may be that, if your parents are, downsizing or something like that, and you're trying to help them, it may take the kids to enter the information in, um, but it's still very easy for the grandparent to have it on their phone, and they can just search for what they need and then say, "Hey, I think this is where it is." And that part is so easy to do if they're comfortable being on a smartphone.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, most people now are feeling a little bit more comfortable, but if not, they can always just call somebody else up and just ask them a question. And there was a question that I had. So, this is also probably good because now a lot of people actually have those storage units because, they may not have enough space. People are in between. They're going to, they're one place, but then they're thinking about moving someplace else. But this is also good for that as well because then you'll know where your dishes are, those other items as well. Or also what I liked about is when you said the expiration date, because I think sometimes when people put things in storage, David, and you probably know this too, they put stuff in there that, maybe they need to get rid of. And you can say, well, this is from my college days. And then and I think it'll help people hopefully maybe get rid of things. It's like, we've had this stuff since we've both been out of college for 10 years. Maybe we can deal with that box first and then,
Yeah,
slowly go through the other things as well. So I like that as well. I mean, there's so many different, and as you saw with Dave, but I'm going to show mine again. See, there's all these wonderful different colors because it's spring. And of course, you got the QR code and the number as well. So, yes, smart labels. And of course, see, Dave thought about everything because you can get it in the Apple as well as the Google Play Store as well. And it's qrsmartlabels.com. It's qrsmartlabels.com. So, well, Dave, I do want to thank you so much for your time today. I don't see any questions or anything. But of course, if you have questions, please feel free to tag me or Dave. I'll make sure that if you tag me, that Dave will get the question. Make sure you follow him on, Instagram, qrsmartlabels.com. Please follow him because you'll be able to really begin to think outside the box because sometimes we think we can only use labels for just one thing. But then sometimes we'll see a video because it's got great videos and also great information out there where you can really realize it's endless possibilities. Because right now I'm thinking, okay, how can I use it, Dave? Because like I said, I've got at least 6 boxes of things, and then also I'm just labeling things so that okay, if these are my mother's things that I'm just not ready to get rid of, so at least people know that, and all of those things as well. So again, thank you so much, Dave, for your time today. It's greatly appreciated. And again, make sure you follow Dave. Make sure you actually buy your own smart labels. And of course, you know what? Because Organizing is really being able to find things the first time you look. So let's stop wasting time and energy looking for things that are right underneath our nose. All right. Well, you continue to have a great day, everybody, and be safe, be well, and of course, most of all, be organized.
Thanks so much, Janet.